You've probably seen the hot takes, the cable shows and podcasts, loudly declaring the Chiefs dynasty is done and that this is the year the House of Cards finally collapses. I get why that narrative is catchy. After 5 Super Bowl appearances in 7 seasons, the talking heads love an angle where a dynasty fades, and it drives clicks. But let's slow down and separate the exaggerated headlines from the real, on-the-field facts before we start writing the obituary. A lot of these hot takes lean heavily on surface-level observations, a star's age, off-field distractions, or a couple of rough playoff performances, and then they stretch those into predictions about a franchise's long-term future. That's not analysis, it's theater. If you want my straight read, the question isn't whether the Chiefs will ever have a down year. Of course, every team will at some point. The real question is how likely that down year is this season, and whether what we saw in those blowout Super Bowl losses is permanent or fixable. So let's walk through the things that actually matter: personnel, coaching, and the specific reasons those Super Bowls went so sideways, rather than the clicky narratives about dynasty over. Before we go deeper, I'll ask you one quick thing. If you're new here, please hit subscribe and ring the bell. We're grinding to 5,000 subscribers, and I want this community full of real fans, not hot takes. Also, tell me right now in the comments, do you think the Chiefs dynasty is finished? Type YES or nitrogen monoxide and one sentence why. That'll help steer the rest of the video because I want to see how the fan base feels after the noise. Now, the loudest claims I've heard are that the Mams era is winding down, that Travis Kelce is distracted with outside interests, or that 2 bad Super Bowls are proof the team's core is broken. Those talking points ignore a few important facts. First, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are still the best QB coach combo in modern football when it comes to producing consistent playoff success. Second, both of the blowout losses had very specific, identifiable root causes, namely offensive line breakdowns that left Mahomes under siege, not a wholesale collapse of the team's identity or talent. Third, the front office actively addressed the line in the draft and in camp, and there are reasons to think improvement is realistic rather than purely wishful thinking. I'm not saying there aren't legitimate concerns, injuries and randomness are in every season, but if you strip away the punditry, the argument that the Chiefs are no longer a contender this year doesn't hold up on the evidence. Stick with me, in the next section I'll explain why having Mahomes and Reid together is still an enormous advantage, and how continuity in coaching and scheme buys you a lot of margin when bad things happen. For now, drop your YES and your quick take in the comments, and if you agree with this video, hit like. It helps real, non-flashy coverage like this reach more Chiefs fans. When you step back and look at the Chiefs' blueprint for success, it all comes down to 2 names, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Think about it, in 7 seasons as a starter, Mahomes has already reached 5 Super Bowls. That's not luck. That's consistency at the very highest level, paired with a coach who knows how to get the best out of his roster. Reid's offensive mind is one of the sharpest in the game, and having him and Mahomes together creates a continuity that almost no other team in the league can match. Even if a couple of losses look bad on paper, the framework is still intact. And that's the reason the Chiefs' dynasty talk isn't over. It's because the foundation is still elite. Another key point is leadership. Mahomes isn't just a physical talent. He's a field general who elevates everyone around him. He keeps the offense humming, even when parts of the line or receiving cores are in flux, and Reid's experience allows him to make adjustments on the fly, whether it's scheming around injuries or exploiting defensive tendencies. That combination of star power and coaching stability is almost impossible to replicate, and it gives KC a huge edge every single season. Now, I know some fans are nervous about Kelce aging or other key players being sidelined, but the QB coach combo buys you resilience. Teams can have bad games, sure, but sustained dysfunction is less likely when your leader is Mahomes and your architect is Reid. Here's a thought for you. Who do you think matters more next season, Mam's health or Reed's play calling and adaptability? Drop a quick one-sentence comment below. I want to hear your take. And while you're at it, if you love deep dives like this and you want to support the channel hitting 5,000 subscribers, go ahead and click subscribe. Every new fan helps the conversation grow, but let's dig a little deeper. Reed's scheme isn't just about calling plays, it's about molding talent. Whether it's developing a young receiver or rotating linemen to keep Mams protected, Reed has shown an uncanny ability to put players in positions where they succeed. And Mams, he's versatile enough to take advantage of every opportunity. Even if you think last year's Super Bowl losses were flukes, the reality is that this duo provides a margin for error. They can recover from a bad quarter, a poor call, or an injury in ways most teams can't. That's why the dynasty over narrative often feels rushed. The NFL is brutal, and every team has peaks and valleys, but KC's peak is still ridiculously high. Before we move to the next chapter, take a second and react. Do you trust Reed to make the right adjustments this year? Yes or no? Hit the comments and let me know. Your vote isn't just fun, it tells me how confident the fan base is as we head toward the season. And if this analysis is helpful, hit like. It pushes the video to more Chiefs fans who want real talk, not hot takes. Stick around because next we're diving into the offensive line, the area that directly impacted those blowout losses and where the real X factor lies for keeping Mams safe, the offense clicking. Now let's talk about the area that probably got the loudest criticism after the last couple of Super Bowls, the offensive line. If you're a Mams fan, you know the phrase "he makes miracles happen" gets thrown around a lot, but even he can't dodge constant pressure from a leaky line. That was the story in those blowout losses. Defenders were in his face almost immediately, and it disrupted timing, rhythm, and even the mental side of the game. And here's the thing, offensive line issues aren't solved overnight. You can't just plug in a new player and expect chemistry. It takes reps, communication, and adjustment to NFL speed. That's why the Chiefs' approach in the draft and offseason was so critical. Enter Josh Simmons, the 32nd overall pick, who has been turning heads in rookie camp. Simmons isn't just another name on the roster, he's already showing the ability to handle first-team reps, and that's huge for Mams' protection. The Chiefs didn't pick him lightly. The front office identified the need for a true difference maker on the left side, someone who can anchor the line and give Mams the pocket time he needs to work his magic. Early camp reports suggest Simmons has the physical tools and mental processing to potentially step in sooner than most rookies. But even if he doesn't start immediately, having him in rotation and developing behind experienced linemen elevates the entire group. And that's the key takeaway. Mams doesn't need perfection, he needs incremental improvement. Every second of extra pocket time, every sustained block, and every minimized blitz can turn a 3-and-out into a scoring drive. Fans tend to focus on the flashy positions, QB, WR, Tay, but the line is what makes the offense actually function. Simmons could be the missing piece that prevents those catastrophic collapses from repeating. Now, here's a question for you. Do you think Josh Simmons can become a long-term answer at left tackle? Type yes or nitrogen monoxide and leave a quick explanation. I want to see if the fan base feels confident about this rookie's potential. And while you're commenting, smash the like button if you want the Chiefs to finally lock down the offensive line this season. The difference between a great offense and an elite offense often comes down to just a couple of linemen who can consistently protect the quarterback. Mams' skill set allows for some forgiveness, but a solid line multiplies his impact. And don't forget, continuity matters. Keeping the right mix of veteran leadership with Simmons' athleticism could make this unit one of the league's most improved groups by midseason. So even though the line got blamed for previous Super Bowl blowouts, the Chiefs are addressing it head-on. And if the reports are accurate, we could be looking at a unit that allows Mams to play without constantly staring down pressure in the pocket. Stick around for the next chapter, because we'll shift from protection to production, and talk about the receiver depth that could take the Chiefs' offense to the next level if everyone stays healthy. Now that we've covered protecting Mams, let's talk about what happens when the ball leaves his hands, the receiving cores. The Chiefs have a solid trio that could be one of the most dynamic in the league if everyone stays healthy. Rashee Rice, Marquise Hollywood Brown, and Xavier Worthy each brings a unique skill set. Brown's speed stretches defenses vertically, Worthy's route running opens up intermediate space, and Rice has the versatility to create mismatches all over the field. But last season, injuries and inconsistent availability disrupted timing and chemistry. Rice had some off-season issues that raised questions, but early reports suggest he's back on track and ready to contribute fully. That's huge because a healthy receiver group does more than just pad stats. It opens up the entire offense. Defenses can't stack the box. They have to respect multiple threats, and that gives Mams the freedom to make the creative plays we've come to expect. Depth matters too. You can't rely on just 3 guys to carry the load through a long NFL season. That's where the Chiefs' bench receivers come in, providing rotation and fresh legs to keep defenses honest. Even the occasional breakout from a second-tier target could swing games in KC's favor. So looking ahead to midseason, if this receiving group stays healthy and in rhythm, the Chiefs' ceiling could be higher than most analysts predict. They have the talent, they have the QB, and the offensive line improvements we just discussed can give this group the space it needs to thrive. Quick question for you: who's the sleeper on this roster that you think will surprise fans by midseason? Drop one name in the comments, and if you want ongoing updates on roster health and depth, make sure you hit subscribe and ring the bell. We'll keep you informed all season long. Also, do you think Rice will be fully ready by week 8? Yes or no? Let me know what you think. The takeaway here is simple: the weapons are there, the system is there, and if the Chiefs stay healthy, they have the potential to dominate offensively in a way that keeps defenses on their heels every week. Stick with me because in the next and final chapter, we'll pull it all together and give a realistic season outlook, showing why, even with risks, the Chiefs remain a contender and why their dynasty isn't over yet. So bringing it all together, what does this season realistically look like for the Chiefs? Sure, there are risks, injuries, unlucky bounces, and the unpredictable nature of football. But on paper, the team is stronger than last year. Mams and Reed provide stability and elite leadership. The offensive line is showing real signs of improvement with Josh Simmons, and the receiver corps has the potential to fully click if everyone stays healthy. That combination makes the Chiefs a legitimate contender once again. And let's not forget the emotional stakes. This could be another chance for Mams to chase history and for Kels to cap off his career with another deep playoff run. So don't buy into the dynasty over noise just yet. Help us hit 5,000 subscribers by subscribing now and sharing this video with a fellow Chiefs fan. Quick poll for you before we wrap up. Would you bet on the Chiefs to make another Super Bowl this year? Yes or no? Drop your pick in the comments. Stick around for our related videos breaking down OTAs, draft takeaways, and training camp insights to stay ahead of the curve this season.